Hi, this is actually my future self. I filmed this video last fall and the album has now a different name. It's called Journey into Outer Space and not Outer Space anymore. And in this video we'll just ramble a lot about the story behind the song and how I made the song. So if you're interested in that, stay here and listen afterwards to the songs. Behind the album, Outer Space. Outer Space is for me personally a total important album because it's like I found totally my style in it, and every song is different but they fit together perfectly, and every song tells its own little story. And about these little stories I tell you the story behind the song right now in this video. But before that, I want to tell you that in my head, Outer Space is not just different songs. This is also like every song is a planet. Like Queen of Ice is the ice planet, Hidden Creature is like the wooden planet, and the song Outer Space is like leaving the place Earth and like leaving the place at the end. So it makes like a circle and it's super interesting. But let's talk about the first song. From Outer Space was actually the first song I was writing with that project, and I remember writing Outer Space version in my bed, and I had really that feeling of being in a rocket. And I want to take that mood with me and let the people also join this journey into space. And it was super funny because I wanted to add vocals, but I was like sitting in bed, I had headphones there, so I muted the track and I recorded this with my laptop's microphone. And still today the chorus is like recorded with my laptop. I've never changed that. Like, these are the original demo vocals because they sound like so great and they hit like really this space feeling, and I couldn't recreate that with the real microphone and the echo and the reverb, so I left it like that. And it's not only about this feeling like flowing into space, it's like also it makes me so sad that we don't take much care about our Earth, and that we like fly around, we eat what we like, and we're not really caring about nature. And I was thinking, okay, what if we never start caring? Then maybe someday we have to leave Earth. And so I started the journey with Outer Space. If we have to leave this planet one day, and where would we land? A New World is a complete improvised song, which means I just like sat on the piano and I was just playing without thinking and without any rules or rhythmical patterns or whatever. And I always liked that. I was never like the person that was playing note after note and was clear and very defined. So I just liked the song, and then afterwards I was choosing to synthesizer, and like you can hear some birds in there, and also the vocals I improvise them. By every gig I never play exactly the same thing because I just feel like this is such an improvised song, and I actually like that about this song enough. And it's like the part 2 of Outer Space, that we land somewhere and we think, oh, this is so beautiful here, and look, like it's a new world. I mean, we have that sometimes too when we like visit a new country and we're like, wow, it's so beautiful there, and you just see the beauty, but I mean afterwards we don't really care. So it's like a new world where you're like this, first sight of a new place and you're like, wow, this is gorgeous.
There's a man on the dark side of the moon. He's longing for a place to stay.
Dark Side of the Moon is, for me, a song of loneliness. It's actually the only song I have written on the real synthesizer without my laptop, and I also played like real bass in this one. It's like, with the generation that's the loneliest, and you can be surrounded by the wrong people and feel totally lonely, and Dark Side of the Moon, a song like that, where you like sitting and you don't feel like you're at the right place, just like longing for another place, like where you could really belong. I remember writing Hidden Creature and I suddenly had the feeling of that dark forest that you're going into, and you feel like these heavy steps, and somehow forest has like this mysterious dark feeling to me, and you don't know really what is there behind, what's living there, which animals, what everything. And that inspired me to write the story about an outcast that goes into the woods and to live their new life because he isn't accepted by society, and so the person that's excluded can start a new life somewhere. And I find it super interesting because it's like written not of the perspective of this person, but from another person that realized what they have done. And it's really like realizing how we react to people that are a little different and we don't accept them. We just like think, oh, they're odd and weird. And I guess I can really feel that feeling too, because I felt so much as an outsider my whole life, and it was just like projecting that in like this movie scene where this creature that isn't really a creature flees into the woods, and maybe you'll never see them again, and starting hopefully their new beginning and new life there. I actually almost never released this album because I was so much self-doubting myself. I was like, oh, every song I've written is like so horrible and it's not good enough, and compared to other artists they have like much clearer songs, and my genre is so undefined and everything, and I was so much self-doubting, and I was like, how will I ever release that album? And I guess this whole self-doubt, it's like in this song, like sometimes you are your worst enemy, and it's not bad, but you believe there's so much that you're like, you don't see your potential anymore. And I really wanted to emphasize that feeling of yourself being your worst enemy, and like standing there and actually you have the potential and you know that it will be something great, but you're just in that mode of self-doubting. And especially this project myself, I do every song on my own, from graphics to videos to producing to songwriting, and then you never have another person that tells you, oh, actually that's pretty great. You always have to do that on your own. You always have to say on your own, hey, it's great. And you also have to criticize your work. You think it's not good enough. It's really hard sometimes to find a balance between these two things. I love fairy tales, and I remember writing this melodies with this bells at the beginning, and I really had like this feeling of the Snow Queen, which is one of my favorite fairy tales. And I I mean, this fairy tale was very present for me as a child, and so I combined just two things of memories and like the fairy tales and everything. Like sometimes memories come back and they can hurt you very badly, and it's like sometimes you remember like childhood memories or other memories that you have forgotten and they hit you very hard. It's like this feeling of a snow queen because they're so cold and you don't feel any warmth, and I wanted to show that feeling with like the queen of ice that's there. And I don't know if you know the story. It's actually, to not spoil you, but Kai got something in his eyes and he turns to be very cold, and Greta tries to change that, and there the whole journey starts. And it's really like this beauty, but sometimes memories can also hurt very badly.
Time stands still and here I am.
So, time is such a funny thing. Like sometimes things go so long but they're very short, or vice versa. And I remember I wrote that song Time afterwards at a concert by Hanya Rani, and she's such a great pianist, and I was like super inspired and I wanted to write like a piano piece. And so I sat on my piano at home and I was like freely improvising and creating that song. And there's this Tim Burton film Big Fish, and there's one scene like when you meet the love of your life, time stands still. And I had like this phrase in my head, and I created like this scene where time is frozen and you're like there and you've met probably the love of your life, or you did something different where time stood still, and I found that totally fascinating. So time is probably the time planet. I get so many deja vus, and like really this feeling, oh, I remember this moment, but it's impossible that I ever lived it. And when I wrote deja vu, the words came out of my mouth and I never changed them, so I just got the words, and I found it really funny to change the languages between English and French. And because I actually really like that, to mixing languages and to have that feeling of two languages in the same song. And also I found it super cool because like it's wrong, deja vu, it's actually totally different written, but I wrote like the female version of it because like I remember when I was going to school and I learned French, there has to be just one masculine person in there and it gets male, and I just wanted to make it female and just to add an E at the end. So like it's for me something really empowering. And yeah, it's like the second song I've written after A New World and Outer Space, and it's like maybe it's not everything as good as it seems, and maybe just have to look a little bit clearer, like the filling in your education, and you think everything's great there, but actually there are also so many things wrong, and people won't see it because they haven't spent enough time there, or they just don't want to see that. So that's the story behind every song in every planet. So please write down in the comments which is your favorite planet, and follow me, and we'll see you in the next video, and listen to all my songs, please.